Gĩikaro kĩa mũthenya wa kerĩ gĩa gũthũrima mamĩnĩsta atano gatagatĩ ka mamĩnĩsta 20 arĩa mendekithĩtio nĩ President William Ruto kĩhingũrĩtwo nĩ ũrĩa warĩ seneta wa Tharaka Nithi Profesa Kithure Kindiki. Kindiki wa mĩaka 50 amũrĩtwo gũtuĩka mĩnĩsta wa ũgitĩri wa thĩinĩ, na mamwe ma maũndũ marĩa erĩte kamĩtĩ ĩrĩa ĩratongorio nĩ Speaker Moses Wetangula nĩ kũhukia ũgitĩri kaunti cia rũgongo wa bũrũri iria ikoragwo na wagagu na ũici wa mahiũ.
Differently from your predecessors, away from the usual rhetoric and threats. Perhaps you need to come and live in Kurkur, Pora, Longewan, Losuk, incognito for only 1 week. Come and stay there. What strategy or are your thoughts do you have to end this menace once and for all, so that as a leader I can execute my other national duties and not concern myself only on matters security?
I will not be sharing operational issues here, but one of the challenges we have is the lack of operational capability for our officers who are serving in those areas. I have requested for facilitation so that we are able to improve the existing capabilities, both for air and land mobility, but also for protection of officers to ensure that they keep the peace there and deal with that issue. We will also have to invoke the provisions of the Constitution and the National Police Service Act to ensure that we actually energize the community policing program to make sure that we don't just rely on soldiers, on officers who are just posted there and they do not even understand this terrain.
Gĩcunjĩ gĩa 13 harĩ igana kĩa maobitha a ũgitĩri marĩ na thĩna wa meciria, na Kindiki eranĩire atĩ ministry ya ũgitĩri nĩ ĩkarora maobitha aya na njĩra ta ya kũmakĩra nyũmba njega na kuongererwo mĩcara.
What will you do about that when you hold this position? Will you change that? What are your views to transform this and to avoid the future problems of police shooting themselves and their colleagues? Thank you.
Of the role they play in securing our country, I know the current administration has committed in its manifesto to review the terms and other welfare issues, including housing and mortgages. I will be the #1 champion to have that part of the manifesto implemented fully so that you can instill better morale, better working conditions, and a happier Kenya Police Service, a happier Kenya Prison Service.
Profesa Njuguna Ndung'u nĩwe wa kerĩ gwĩkinyia gĩikaro-inĩ gĩkĩ akĩendekithio ta minista wa kĩgĩna, akiumwo thutha nĩ ũrĩa warĩ mũmbunge wa Malindi Aisha Jumwa.
We have looked at the youth issue from even the demographic transition, from very many dimensions. But we do believe, and I strongly believe, and I agree with the government here, and the bottom-up approach is that once we structure the market, once we develop different markets in different segments of the economy, and once we actually protect those markets and govern them well, then it means that you can join in the market and make a living. There will be interventions that may be required for you to participate in that particular market.
When you look at the public service, generally, you will find that there are some tribes in this country which have dominated public service, yet the small tribes or the marginalized or even the marginalized.
Minister wa tene Davis Chirchir ũrĩa nake ũthũrimĩtwo nĩ ũndũ wa kwamũrwo ministry-inĩ ya hinya ũrĩa tũhũthagĩra, orĩtio atarĩrie ũrĩa angĩka gũtigĩrĩra Akenya othe nĩ mamũkĩra ũtheri wa thitima.
Why are they having financial difficulties? I think you must go there and correct this if we approve your nomination.
I can say on camera that I've seriously looked at it, but the Kenya Power balance sheet and the kind of exposure is quite significant. It should be doing much better to be having a loan of about 100 billion against a revenue of 60 billion.
Wa mũico gũthũrimwo nĩ ũrĩa warĩ mũmbunge wa Gatũndũ ya mũhuro Moses Kuria na endekithĩtio gũtuĩka minista wa Iganda na Wonjoria.
So all this question about manufacturing, about trade is going to add to jobs. So we cannot get jobs by kneeling down and saying a prayer, much as we are a religious country. We have to manufacture, we have to export, and we have to support our people. So the sum total of all that is going to be more jobs. And as I've said, we are going to decriminalize enterprise. We are going to really to prove and show that every hustle matters.
Atano ya magithurimo hari mĩnĩsta 21 arĩa mendekithĩtio nĩ President William Ruto magĩkinyaniria ikĩro nĩ kuga atĩ megũkorwo magĩteithĩrĩria thirikari kũgomanithia motungata kũrĩ Akenya ta ũrĩa President erĩire mũingĩ agĩka kambeni. Gĩathĩ kĩa mũthenya wa gatatũ gĩtanyĩtwo kũhingũrwo nĩ Senator Elgeyo Marakwet ũrĩa ũthukĩirwo gĩbarũa kĩa Ministry ya ũkui. Ngĩribotera Inooro TV kuma cikaro-inĩ cia mbunge mũciĩ mũnene wa Nairobi, njĩtagwo Wanjikũ wa Kĩmani.